Chapter 81. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Both sides were freaking out. Don't worry, Mr. Chen. I'll let you know the second I hear anything. Okay, thanks, Wei. Chen Fan offered his thanks. Hey, when this blows over, I owe you a dinner. Chen Fan really needed to thank Wei Jingxiong. After hanging up, Chen Fan fired off a few texts, especially to Chen Wenjing, hoping she could shed some light on the Chen family's secret operation. I gotta figure out how to build a real intelligence network or something, he muttered, already strategizing. Just then, the system notification chimed. Ding, took Xia Mengmeng and her sister out for a fun weekend. Mission complete. Congratulations. Award, 12% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group, making you the key player and new president. Congratulations. Award, 67 experience points. With this latest addition, Chen Fan now controlled 27% of Zhouxiao Security Group. He only needed 23% more to hit his initial goal of 50%. Just a couple more system rewards or missions, and he'd have total control, but even now, as the largest shareholder and president, Chen Fan's influence within Zhouxiao Security Group was about to skyrocket. He could now mobilize all the regular bodyguards at will. As for the 3 elite special teams, company rules stated that the largest shareholder had the right to deploy one of them whenever needed. To mobilize all 3, he'd still need approval from senior management, unless, of course, Chen Fan acquired more than 50% ownership. Then he could run the whole show and deploy whoever he wanted. Feeling much better after completing that mission, Chen Fan and Xia Ruoshui spent the rest of the afternoon on the golf course, brainstorming ways to attack Yang. Brands from all sides. Time slipped away until, finally, Chen Wenjing got back to him. She discovered that the whole thing was the brainchild of the old man, Mr. Chen, but was being carried out by his 4th son, Chen Jinping. Only those 2 knew the specifics. That was all she could dig up. She couldn't exactly grill Mr. Chen or Chen Jinping directly, and even if she did, they wouldn't tell her anything. Mr. Chen hadn't even clued in his other sons, let alone his granddaughter. Chen Wenjing's intel was limited, but Wei Jingxiong came through with the good stuff. The Chen family thought they had airtight security, but there was always a weak link. Yan Zhoubin. Yan Zhoubin was a blabbermouth. Wei Jingxiong just had to grease the palms of a few of Yan Zhoubin's buddies to get the dirt. Wei Jingxiong spilled everything about the 4th son of the Chen family and Yan Zhoubin's recent activities, including how they'd sent goons after Yang Xingping's daughter to strong-arm him. Not only Yang Xingping, but also the other 2 shareholders were cooperating because of Yan Zhoubin's threats. Thanks, Boss Wei. Chen Fan replied. He was realizing more and more how crucial a strong intelligence network was. Having your own network is seriously a game changer. So, what's your play, Mr. Chen? Wei Jingxiong asked. While his intel was top-notch, he was in no position to go toe-to-toe with Yan Zhoubin. They weren't even in the same league. Don't forget my connection with Zhouxiao Security Group, Chen Fan replied. Now that he was running the whole show, he wasn't afraid of some 2-bit underground boss like Yan Zhoubin. It was a no-brainer. Chen Fan's Zhouxiao Security Group could crush Yan Zhoubin's thugs. Right, you're unstoppable, Mr. Chen, Wei Jingxiong said with a sigh. Chen Fan started formulating a plan to dismantle the Chen family's scheme. He immediately dispatched 2 regular bodyguard teams from Zhouxiao Security Group to protect Yang Xingping's daughter from Yan Zhoubin's guys. According to Wei Jingxiong, Yang Xingping was only siding with the 4th son of the Chen family because his daughter's safety was on the line. Once she was safe, Yang Xingping would definitely turn on them, probably with a vengeance. On Chen Fan's side, on the day of signing the contract with Wanheng Software Group, many small and medium shareholders also expressed their loyalty to Chen Fan. He, Yang Xingping, plus 1 or 2 of those shareholders could take care of this. Dealing with Yan Zhoubin's goons was easy. Chen Fan's regular bodyguards from Zhouxiao Security Group could sweep the floor with them. There was no need to bring in the special team. In addition to Yang Xingping, Chen Fan also sent the rest of the bodyguards of Zhouxiao Security Group to solve the troubles of the remaining 2 shareholders who were forced to cooperate with the Chen family. Chen Fan set up a backup plan, just in case. With everything in place, no matter what the Chen family had planned, Chen Fan was invincible. He was already looking forward to seeing Chen Jinping and Yan Zhoubin squirm tomorrow. After golf, Chen Fan and Xia Ruoshui headed out. The next morning, the system's voice chimed in, ding, dot, day 18 of severing ties, award, 30% ownership of Zhonghai Province's strongest and top private detective agency, Guanyu Private Detective Agency. Chapter 82. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, so the system thinks this is a big deal, and, well, it is. Whoa, Chen Fan was stoked about today's reward. The system's got my back. Yesterday, I was just thinking I needed a better intel network, something to get the jump on news, and bam. Today, the system drops 30% of Guanyu Private Detective Agency in my lap, almost a third of the whole shebang. Talk about perfect timing. Guanyu is hands down the biggest, baddest private eye outfit in Zhonghai Province, sure, because of what they do, their actual assets aren't huge, maybe a few billion, but here's the kicker, their intel network is insane. We're talking all over Jiangzhou, the whole Zhonghai Province. Wei Jingxiong's network. Child's play compared to these guys. Now that I own a chunk of Guanyu, I basically have access to a third of their whole intelligence goldmine. This is exactly what I needed, and because their total assets aren't massive, grabbing the whole thing should be a piece of cake. A couple more system rewards or tasks, and boom, I own Guanyu outright, then that kick-ass intel network is all mine. Plus, Guanyu will be huge in finding out what happened to my parents. Seriously, best reward ever. Just as Chen Fan was thinking this, the system chimed in again, ding. Task, shut down the Chen family's play and make Chen Jinping and Yan Jiobin eat crow. Reward, 35% ownership of Guanyu Private Detective Agency. Reward, 53 experience points. I was just thinking I needed a couple more of these, and then I could take over the whole agency, and boom. Another task, I was already gonna deal with the mess Chen Jinping and Yan Jiobin were cooking up. This is just icing on the cake. Completing the task gets me another 35% of Guanyu. Add that to what I already got, and I'm calling the shots. One more push, and I own 100% of Guanyu and that sweet intel network. Chen Fan was pumped, ready for Chen Jinping and his crew to make their move that afternoon. Later that day, Yan Jiobin swaggered into Yongtai Real Estate Group with a dozen of his goons and Chen Jinping in tow. An old guy was already there, practically drooling with anticipation, none other than Fang Ziyuan, the ex-number 2, now number 3 shareholder of Yongtai. Yang Xingping and the other shareholders were only going along with the Chen family because Yan Jiobin was strong-arming them. But Fang Ziyuan was the only big shareholder who was actually happy to throw in with the Chen family and Yan Jiobin. He was dead set against Chen Fan from the start. Now that he had a chance to team up with the Chen family, he was all in on stabbing Chen Fan in the back. Fang Ziyuan figured a green kid like Chen Fan couldn't stand up to the Chen family, especially not against a crafty old fox like Chen Jinping. He had no problem turning traitor, selling out the company and Chen Fan. Mr. Chen, Mr. Yan, you made it. Fang Ziyuan oozed with flattery. Chen Jinping loved guys like this. Made everything easier. Are all the shareholders of Yongtai here? Chen Jinping asked. Everyone but Chen Fan. Fang Ziyuan said, all smiles. They deliberately left Chen Fan out of the shareholders' meeting, so they could get the company and kick him out as chairman without him even knowing. Excellent. Chen Jinping and Yan Jiobin exchanged grins, practically giddy. Everything was going exactly as planned. Victory was within their grasp. Chen Fan, think you're hot stuff. You'll be broke soon, and your chairman gig, gone. See how you like going up against the Chen family without Yongtai backing you. You're nothing but a. Let's go. Chen Jinping waved, and the whole crew stormed toward the meeting room. Minutes later, the Yongtai shareholders were blindsided by the sudden appearance of a dozen unwanted guests. Mr. Yang, Mr. Fang, isn't this an internal shareholders meeting? What are these outsiders doing here? Yeah, what's going on? What do they want? Some of the shareholders recognized Chen Jinping and Yan Jiobin and started firing off questions. Oh, Mr. Chen and Mr. Yan are here at the special invitation of Mr. Yang and myself. Fang Ziyuan, riding high on the Chen family's coattails, was all swagger. Everyone looked at Yang Xingping, who gave a barely perceptible nod, confirming the situation. The shareholders loyal to Chen Fan knew something was seriously wrong. They knew Chen Fan and the Chen family were like oil and water, so they wanted to sneak a message to Chen Fan about what was going down. Hold it right there. Predicting this, Yan Jiubin barked out an order. Hand over your phones. No one is contacting the outside world. Yan Jiubin commanded. Why should we listen to you? Yeah, these are our phones, why should we give them to you? The shareholders protested. Why should you listen? Just because of this. At Yan Jiubin's signal, a dozen thugs in black suits barged in, glaring menacingly at the shareholders. The look on their faces screamed, dare to resist, and you'll regret it. Then, at Yan Jiubin's gesture, his goons began collecting the phones. Even the shareholders who wanted to warn Chen Fan were powerless. It's over, Chen is in deep trouble now. Chapter 83. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After they confiscated our phones, everyone knew what was coming. The shareholders were crushed, except for Mr. Chen. We were all here, including Chen Jinping from that rich Chen family, who invited along the mob boss, Yan Jiubin. They were definitely going after Mr. Chen. And with our phones gone, we couldn't even warn him. What could we do? Ever since Chen Fan signed that deal with Wanheng Software Group, a lot of us shareholders realized the guy had power and could take Yongtai Real Estate Group to the next level. The company was doing great. As shareholders, our net worth would only go up. We were all in for Chen Fan, no question, but now, staring down Yan Jiubin, we were powerless, just hoping for some kind of miracle. Otherwise, Mr. Chen was in real danger. Okay, Mr. Yang, announced the new appointments. Fang Ziyuan looked at Yang Xingping. Yang Xingping held the document Yan Jiubin gave him, looking bummed and reluctant to read it out. Mr. Yang, think about your daughter. She's got her whole life ahead of her. It would be a shame if something unexpected happened, Yan Jiubin whispered in Yang Xingping's ear. You. Yang Xingping glared at Yan Jiubin, but he stood up and began reading. Effective immediately, Zhao Hong, Vice President, is dismissed and replaced by Sun Yizhua. Yuan Enying, HR Manager, is dismissed and replaced by Ma Yiping. And Yang Xingping announced a string of changes. Anyone in the company who'd stood by Chen Fan, shareholders, top execs, was getting the boot, replaced by Fang Ziyuan's cronies or hand-picked people who'd do whatever Chen Jinping and Yan Jiubin told them to. Once these moves were official, Chen Fan would be sidelined for good, and so would Yang Xingping. The Chen family would have Yongtai Real Estate Group in a chokehold. I don't accept this. Why are you firing me? Me neither. That sleazeball Sun Yizhua taking my job. No way. I've been working my tail off for this company for years, and this is how you repay me. What kind of crap is this? The fired executives immediately started protesting. Their livelihoods were on the line. They weren't going down without a fight. Oh, somebody got a problem? Step right up and tell me about it. Yan Jiubin stood up and kicked a wooden chair next to him, smashing it to pieces. Being a mob boss, Yan Jiubin knew how to make a point. Gulp. Gulp. Watching that display, the guys who supported Chen Fan swallowed hard, scared stiff. The neutral parties didn't say a word. With the new personnel in place, Chen Jinping looked around, surprised at how smoothly things were going. Why not go all the way and just axe Chen Fan from the chairman's seat? Chen Jinping had planned to see how things played out. If the shareholders put up a real fight, he'd just sideline Chen Fan, replace him with a puppet in a key role. Removing Chen Fan from the top spot could wait a few days, but things were going better than expected. So why wait? Just get rid of him. Chen Jinping looked at Yan Jiubin. Yan Jiubin got it instantly. He nodded to Fang Ziyuan, who returned the nod. Ahem, let me say a few words. Fang Ziyuan cleared his throat and stood up. Ever since Chen Fan joined Yongtai Real Estate Group, he's caused nothing but trouble, making enemies left and right. Fang Ziyuan sounded all righteous and concerned for the company. And then, not long ago, Chen Fan actually became chairman. Putting a loose cannon like him in charge is like driving us off a cliff, dooming Yongtai Real Estate Group. So, while we have this opportunity today, I propose to all shareholders that we remove Chen Fan from the position of chairman. Fang Ziyuan laid it on thick, setting the stage for the big move. The shareholders were stunned. These guys were going for broke, trying to oust Mr. Chen altogether. I second that. Me too. A couple of Fang Ziyuan stooges chimed in right away. And you? Chen Jinping and Yan Jiobin glared at the other shareholders, letting them know what was expected. They had their reasons for speaking up. Okay, I'm in. Sorry, Mr. Chen, I support it too. Things were looking bleak for Chen Fan. As someone who's been with this company a long time, it breaks my heart to see Yongtai Real Estate Group, which we've all worked so hard to build, go down the drain because of some young hotshot like Chen Fan. For the good of the company, we have to remove him from the chairman's position. Fang Ziyuan was trying to sway the fence-sitters when a booming voice cut him off. You want to remove me? You wish. The next second, everyone stared as Chen Fan strolled in, calm as could be. His sudden appearance brought the room to a standstill. Mr. Chen, you're here. That's right, Mr. Chen. These guys are trying to pull a fast one. You got here just in time. Chen Fan supporters were thrilled. With him here, they could relax. Chen Jinping and Yan Jiobin, on the other hand, were thrown. Chen Fan showing up wasn't part of the plan. Even if you're here, so what? The writings on the wall, Chen Jinping sneered. It was too late for Chen Fan. Chen Jinping was counting on the old man's scheme to work. They were going to win today, no question. The writings on the wall. You think these goons you paid off are going to decide anything? Chen Fan shot back. Of course they can't do it alone, Chen Jinping chuckled. Their trump card wasn't these guys. Boss Yang, do you agree to remove Chen Fan from the position of chairman? Yan Jiobin stared at Yang Xingping, his voice dripping with menace. Yang Xingping's answer would determine whether they could kick Chen Fan out. Yang Xingping was struggling, hesitating. What are you waiting for? Think about your daughter. Yan Jiobin dropped the act and threatened Yang Xingping outright. Yang Xingping made up his mind. Sigh. Mr. Chen, I'm sorry. I can't help it. Yang Xingping bowed to Chen Fan, apologizing. As a father, he couldn't risk his daughter's safety. Chen Jinping grinned, seeing victory within reach. Chen Fan was about to lose. Yang Xingping was about to state his position when, at the critical moment, Chen Fan spoke up. Chapter 84. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They were in deep trouble. Hold off on the apologies. Take a look at these first. Chen Fan pulled an envelope from his bag and handed it to Yang Xingping, surprised. Yang Xingping opened it and took out the photos. One showed a team of professional bodyguards tying up a dozen guys in black, another showed those same guys being hauled off to the police station. Mr. Chen, what's this all about? Yang Xingping asked, puzzled. Ask him. He knows, Chen Fan said, gesturing to Yan Jiobin. Yang Xingping approached Yan Jiobin and handed him the photos. What the hell is this? Yan Jiobin said dismissively, glancing at the pictures. His expression instantly changed. How did my guys end up like this? He asked, astonished. These dozen men were sent by Yan Jiobin to kidnap your daughter. My bodyguards took care of them, Chen Fan explained calmly. My bodyguards are still with your daughter, making absolutely sure she's safe. Yang Xingping's eyes lit up at this. Mr. Chen, is that true? He asked, barely believing it. If you don't believe me, call your daughter. Or, we can have my bodyguards escort her back safely. Chen Fan nodded. Yang Xingping immediately called his daughter. Dad, some people tried to grab me, but these professional bodyguards took care of it. They said they're your friend's men, she said on the phone. Phew. Yang Xingping breathed a sigh of relief, glad his daughter was okay. You tried to kidnap my daughter? Yang Xingping turned on Yan Jiobin, his voice full of rage. Yan Zhobin ignored Yang Xingping, staring at the photo in his hand, completely stunned. He'd hand-picked those men to kidnap Yang Xingping's daughter. Each of them could take on 2 or 3 guys without breaking a sweat. How could Chen Fan's bodyguards have taken them down? It didn't make sense. Beside him, Chen Jinping's smile vanished. I'm not in favor of removing Mr. Chen as chairman. Chairman Chen Fan is the best leader for our group, Yang Xingping declared. With his daughter safe, he wasn't afraid of Yan Zhobin and his cronies. Also, my initial personnel appointment is invalid. Chen Fan tossed a few more envelopes to the shareholders threatened by Chen Jinping and Yan Zhobin. Chen Fan had taken care of their problems just as easily. Thank you, Mr. Chen. I don't agree to remove Mr. Chen either. Thank you, Mr. Chen. One by one, they changed their tune. The situation had completely flipped. Chen Jinping, Fang Ziyuan, and their group were suddenly on the losing side. I propose we remove Fang Ziyuan, Sun Yizhua, Ma Yiping, from all positions in the company. What do you all think? Yang Xingping said, naming Fang Ziyuan and several of his loyalists. All of them combined only held a little over 20% of the shares. I agree. Me too. The people on Chen Fan's side, as well as the shareholders threatened by Yan Zhobin, all agreed. I agree too. Chen Fan added, now, over 70% of the company's shareholders were on board. Fang Ziyuan, Sun Yizhua, Ma Yiping, go back, pack your things, and prepare to hand over your work, Chen Fan ordered. Fang Ziyuan and the others looked ashen. How had they become losers? It was over. All of it. Fang Ziyuan, especially, regretted joining the Chen family, thinking it would be a step up. Now, he'd ended up on the bottom. Chen Fan, you. Chen Jinping sputtered. Things had changed so fast, he couldn't keep up. What about me? Chen Fan challenged. Your Chen family's plan was pathetic. You thought you could get rid of me with that? Ridiculous. You plotted for so long, and that's all you came up with. Chen Jinping flushed, completely losing face. Why are you wasting time talking? Yan Zhobin snarled, throwing a punch at Chen Fan. He preferred settling things with his fists. You want to compare skills? Chen Fan sneered, attacking at the same time. Before Yan Zhobin's fist could land, Chen Fan kicked him hard. Yan Zhobin went flying, crashing into Chen Jinping. They both landed hard, in a humiliating heap. Chen Fan walked over to Chen Jinping and looked down at him. Go back and tell Mr. Chen that your revenge failed, Chen Fan said coldly. Now, get ready to face mine. Looking at Chen Fan, who seemed like a god of war, Chen Jinping felt a twinge of fear. The Chen Fan who used to be insignificant, so ordinary, had transformed into someone they couldn't afford to cross. Chen Jinping truly regretted going against Chen Fan. If only Chen Fan hadn't cut ties with them. He sighed inwardly. Chen Fan's harsh words weren't just arrogance, they served a deeper purpose. By declaring his intention to take revenge, Chen Jinping would tell Mr. Chen, and the Chen family would take action. As the chairman of Yongtai Real Estate Group, Mr. Chen would assume that his target was Chen Real Estate Group. The Chen family would focus their attention there. This would distract them from Chen Fan's real target, Chen Capital Group. Then, a surprise attack would inflict even greater damage on the Chen family. Yan Zhobin's men tried to intervene, but Chen Fan's security guards, strategically placed in advance, quickly subdued them. Throw them out. Chen Fan ordered. The next second, Chen Jinping, Yan Zhobin, and their gang were being dragged out. Minutes later, they were dumped outside the gates of Yongtai Real Estate Group. Passers-by and Yongtai employees stopped to watch. Chen Jinping and Yan Zhobin, completely humiliated, scrambled away like stray dogs. Fang Ziyuan and the others were forced to hand over their work. Yang Xingping and the other shareholders previously threatened by Yan Zhobin, having made up their minds, approached Chen Fan to talk. Chapter 85. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Both sides were in a full-blown panic. Mr. Chen, it's all our fault. You almost lost your job because of us, Yang Xingping said, bowing deeply with the others. We're so sorry. From today forward, we're voluntarily giving up our decision-making power. We'll sign an agreement handing it all over to you, Mr. Chen. We'll follow your lead from now on. Yang Xingping spoke for the group. Together, they owned 30% of Yongtai Real Estate Group's shares. Now, they were voluntarily granting their decision-making power to Chen Fan, which, combined with his own, would give him sole control over more than 50% of Yongtai Real Estate Group's decisions. This way, Chen Fan would have complete control of Yongtai Real Estate Group going forward, and these kinds of incidents wouldn't happen again. Mr. Chen, this is our apology and our thanks. If you hadn't stepped in, our families would still be at Yan Jiubin's mercy, Yang Xingping explained. Chen Fan didn't object. Gaining full control of Yongtai Real Estate Group was also important to him. Soon, the authorization letters were printed. They eagerly signed, granting all decision-making power to Chen Fan. Chen Fan signed as well, and the authorization officially went into effect. From that day on, Chen Fan had the final say at Yongtai Real Estate Group. At that moment, the system's voice chimed in, ding, solved the Chen family's actions, slapped Chen Jinping and Yan Jiubin in the face, task complete, congratulations. You've acquired 35% ownership of Guanyu Private Detective Agency, congratulations. You've gained 53 experience points. With the task complete, Chen Fan had obtained 35% ownership of Guanyu Private Detective Agency. He now controlled 65% of the detective agency, effectively giving him complete control. Chen Fan nodded, satisfied. Afterward, Chen Fan called several trusted senior executives to the chairman's office. He wanted to lay out a plan for dealing with Yum brands. He wanted to stall them, giving Xia Ruoshui time to prepare. Then, they would attack together, hitting them from both sides. To ensure Yum brands focused all their energy on Yongtai Real Estate Group, Chen Fan planned to offer them a little something to whet their appetite. The method was simple. He'd pretend to be unaware of Yum brands' attack and deliberately lose a few $100 million. This would show Yum brands' results, driving them wild. Losing a few $100 million to lure Yum brands into his trap was a small price to pay. After all, the profits Chen Fan would reap from Yum brands' eventual downfall would be far greater than that initial loss. Chen Fan began outlining his strategy. Meanwhile, a charming woman stepped out of a luxury car in front of the Xia Group headquarters. She clutched a secretly taken photo of Chen Fan and Xia Ruoshui. This woman was none other than Xia Ruoshui's aunt, Xia Menglan. She'd come to Jiangzhou on a mission from her brother, Xia Ruoshui's father, to investigate the man Ruoshui was involved with and the nature of their relationship. As the Xia family's golden girl, Xia Ruoshui's relationships, especially marriage, were of utmost importance to the family. After glancing at the photo one last time, Xia Menglan entered the Xia Group building. Moments later, the door to the president's office opened. Xia Ruoshui looked up, surprised. "Auntie, what brings you here?" she asked. "I was traveling nearby and thought I'd visit my precious niece in Jiangzhou," Xia Menglan said with a smile. She naturally wouldn't reveal her true purpose to Ruoshui. "Really? That's great." Xia Ruoshui was delighted. She had always had a good relationship with her aunt. As they chatted, Xia Menglan casually inquired, "Ruoshui, have you been seeing anyone lately?" Hearing this, Xia Ruoshui immediately thought of Chen Fan. "No," Xia Ruoshui replied, shaking her head. Not only were she and Chen Fan not officially together yet, but even if they were, Xia Ruoshui wouldn't readily disclose their relationship. She knew her family would take the matter very seriously. If they found out, they wouldn't stand idly by. That would put too much pressure on Chen Fan. The Xia family was a true behemoth. "Ruoshui, you should hurry up and find a boyfriend," Xia Menglan said, changing the subject. Further probing would raise Ruoshui's suspicions. "No rush. I'll be staying in Jiangzhou for a few days. I'll definitely find out who this boy is." Back at the Chen residence, Chen Jinping returned in a sorry state. "What happened? Did you fail?" the old man Chen asked, surprised. "Father, you wouldn't believe what happened." Chen Jinping recounted the events at Yongtai Real Estate Group to the old man. Bang. Upon hearing the story, the old man Chen flew into a rage, smashing his favorite ceramic teapot. Chen Fan, that damned little brat. The old man cursed. His plan had been so meticulous, only to be ruined by Chen Fan. Father, there's something I need to say. Chen Jinping hesitated. What is it? Father, the Chen Fan you know is not the one from the family. He's grown up and become a difficult man to deal with. Slap. Before Chen Jinping could finish, the old man struck him. Enraged, the old man Chen was beyond reason. What, are you scared? This is just the beginning. That little brat just got lucky. I have plenty more ways to deal with him. The old man insisted, still confident. He was too cunning to believe that he couldn't handle Chen Fan. Just then, a servant announced a distinguished visitor. Chapter 86. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Chen family's visitor was none other than Mr. Chen's old friend, Kong Baisheng, the current CEO of Yum Brands. Old Kong, what brings you here out of the blue? Mr. Chen asked, surprised to see him. Kong Baisheng, making sure they were alone, got right to the point. I'm about to launch my plan tomorrow, so I wanted to run something by you. Huh? Mr. Chen was puzzled. Kong Baisheng explained, here's the deal. Tomorrow, I'm going to hit Yongtai Real Estate Group hard. Even if I can't bankrupt them completely, I'll cripple them. I hear that Chen Fan, the guy who's estranged from your family, is now running Yongtai. I'm going after him. Old Chen, any objections? Objections? Why would I object? I'm thrilled. Old Chen replied with a smile. Why would he object to someone taking down that little jerk Chen Fan? Good. I'll make sure Chen Fan regrets it, Kong Baisheng said, looking at old Chen for confirmation. Go for it, knock yourself out. The harder you come down on him, the better. Ideally, the kid will wind up deep in debt and living on the streets. The more miserable Chen Fan was, the happier old Chen would be. Kong, need any help from us? Mr. Chen inquired. Nah, I've got tomorrow's plan all set. It's a classic feint to the east, attack to the west maneuver, diverting all of Chen Fan's attention onto Fading Group. Kong Baisheng said, sounding pleased. He thought his plan was foolproof, and that Chen Fan had no idea what was coming. I'll catch him completely off guard, and I bet it won't take long to take down Yongtai Real Estate Group. He was confident he didn't need Mr. Chen's help. Well, if you run into any trouble, the Chen family will do whatever it takes to finish off that punk Chen Fan, Mr. Chen promised. Standing nearby, Chen Jinping, still unnerved by the day's earlier events, couldn't shake his doubts about Kong Baisheng's confidence. Oh, by the way, Dad, Chen Fan also asked me to pass on a message, Chen Jinping said after Kong Baisheng left. What's that? Chen Fan said our revenge attempt failed, so we should brace ourselves for his payback. Old Master Chen was furious. That little bastard actually thinks he can get revenge on me. He needs to be taught a lesson. He thinks he can retaliate against the Chen family. Does he think he's some kind of big shot? It's like an ant trying to shake a tree or a fly trying to stop a train, Old Master Chen scoffed, still not taking Chen Fan seriously. Chen Fan wants to get revenge on the Chen family. Fine, I'll be waiting to see what he can do. Chen Jinping tried to reason with him. Dad, maybe we should make some preparations, just in case. Once old Kong strikes tomorrow, will that little punk even have the time or energy to come after us? Old Master Chen asked. Dad, it's better to be safe than sorry, Chen Jinping said. Hearing his son's persistence, Mr. Chen finally relented. Okay, fine. You keep an eye on Chen's real estate group. If that guy wants to retaliate, he'll probably go after our real estate holdings. That's about all he can manage with his limited resources. Meanwhile, after leaving Yongtai Real Estate Group, Chen Fan started taking over Guanyu Private Detective Agency. After all, he now owned 65% of the company. Chen Fan first took control of Guanyu's intelligence network in Zhonghai province, especially in Jiangzhou. He ordered that any news concerning him, the Chen family, or the Jinling Su family be reported to him immediately. With a network that size, getting information would be easy, and he wouldn't have to do all the legwork himself. At the same time, Chen Fan tasked Guanyu Private Detective Agency with investigating his parents' disappearance in Jiangzhou, hoping they could uncover new leads. They were the professionals, after all. On the way home, Chen Fan called Wei Jingxiong and invited him for dinner at his manor that night. After arriving home, Chen Fan pulled out a stack of files, information on Chen's Capital Group, a major business for the Chen family. If he wanted to take them down, he needed to know everything about them. Knowledge is power. Just as Chen Fan was digging in, Yan Jiubin was raging in his villa. How dare he, an underground kingpin in Jiangzhou, be treated with such disrespect? Being thrown out of Yongtai Real Estate Group. Chen Fan had straight up humiliated him. Bang! Yan Jiubin smashed another antique vase, worth hundreds of thousands. He couldn't let this go. If he just took it lying down, how could he show his face in Jiangzhou? He'd become a laughingstock. He had to get revenge on Chen Fan, and he had to do it now. Today. Hey, you! Find out where Chen Fan is. Especially where he'll be tonight. Yan Jiubin ordered. It was too risky to act during the day, so Yan Jiubin planned to ambush Chen Fan at night and teach him a lesson he'd never forget. Yes, sir. The men sprang into action. You, get the boys together. I want fighters, the tougher the better. And I want a lot of them. You, get the cars ready. At least 20. You. Yan Jiubin barked out orders to his crew. Chen Fan, you're dead meat. Tonight's the night you go down, Yan Jiubin spat. This time, he'd hit Chen Fan hard and fast. No more messing around like Qin Jinping. Just a straight-up brawl. Truth comes out under fists. A little over an hour later, Chen Fan got the call he'd been waiting for, a call from Zhoxiao Security Group. Boss, we'll be in Jiangzhou soon. Chapter 87. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The battle was done. Yesterday, Chen Fan became the top dog at Zhoxiao Security Group, and he was already making moves. He felt the heat between him and the Chen family was only going to get hotter, and that meant more enemies crawling out of the woodwork. Playing it safe, Chen Fan pulled 2 regular bodyguard squads from Zhoxiao Security Group and shipped them to Jiangzhou. Even Zhoxiao's regular squads could mop the floor with run-of-the-mill thugs and bodyguards. Finally, after chewing it over, Chen Fan cashed in his top boss privileges to transfer one of Zhoxiao's 3 special teams to Jiangzhou. His crew was pretty thin right now. Sending this special team and the 2 regular squads to Jiangzhou was both a precaution and a way to bulk up his manpower. Having them around would make things a whole lot easier. Thing was, these teams were a ways off, so it'd take some time for them to get there. Head straight to my place when you arrive. Chen Fan gave the order after the call connected. He put them up at his place for a simple reason. His manor was huge and had plenty of rooms. It was perfect for housing 3 bodyguard teams, almost 100 people in all. Then, Chen Fan gave them the exact address. Yes, boss. It was the head of a regular bodyguard team on the other end. Over the next hour or two, the second bodyguard team and the head of the special team called or texted Chen Fan. They'd all be in Jiangzhou by nightfall, one way or another. Meanwhile, Yan Jiubin's guys finally got a bead on things. Boss Yan, we found out Chen Fan's holed up in his manor outside Jiangzhou. Looks like he's not planning on going anywhere. Oh. Out in the sticks, huh? Yan Jiubin's eyes lit up when he heard that. Even better. Makes things way easier for us. Yan Jiubin chuckled. What a stroke of luck. The Jiangzhou suburbs were pretty deserted, perfect for a throwdown. Chen Fan was a regular saint. He knew they were about to rumble and picked this out-of-the-way spot. Tonight, when he taught Chen Fan a lesson, he might even pull a few punches. As dusk settled, around 7 or 8 o'clock, Yan Jiubin's crew, nearly 100 thugs and more than 20 cars, were locked and loaded. Yan Jiubin, puffing on a cigar, swaggered out of his villa. He gave his men a once-over, nodding in approval. Let's roll. With Yan Jiubin's command, the convoy, packed with his goons, roared towards Chen Fan's manor. Just as Yan Jiubin got moving, the news reached Chen Fan. He was at the manor, eating dinner with Wei Jingxiong. After glancing at his phone, Chen Fan gave Wei Jingxiong a knowing look. "Brother Wei, feel like expanding your turf?" Chen Fan asked out of the blue. "Huh? Expanding? Are you kidding? It's all I ever think about." Wei Jingxiong nodded eagerly. "Too bad the other big shots in Jiangzhou are tough nuts to crack, and I'm not strong enough to muscle in. Well, tonight, I'm boosting your territory by at least double." Chen Fan kept the mystery going. Chen Fan had been clued in on Yan Jiubin's scheme from the jump. That's the power of Guanyu Private Detective Agency's intel network. Even Wei Jingxiong, who was usually in the know, was completely in the dark. Hearing Chen Fan's words, Wei Jingxiong's eyes popped. He'd known Chen Fan long enough to know he wasn't one for empty boasts. If Chen Fan was saying this, there had to be something behind it. "Mr. Chen, if you can actually double my influence, I'm yours. From here on out, I, Wei Jingxiong, will follow your lead, no questions asked." Wei Jingxiong made his position crystal clear. Doubling his reach was a temptation he couldn't resist. "Mr. Chen, what's the play?" Chen Fan just smiled, keeping his cards close. The two went back to their meal. A little over half an hour later, Yan Jiubin's massive motorcade pulled up to Chen Fan's manor. Everyone piled out, with Yan Jiubin front and center, puffing on a smoke. He gave the already open manor gate a once-over. Behind him, nearly 100 professional toughs stood shoulder to shoulder. "Charge! Brothers, let's go! Take down Chen Fan!" With Yan Jiubin's shout, he led his goons into Chen Fan's manor. "Boss Wei, time for the show. Let's head up to the terrace." Chen Fan set down his wine glass and led Wei Jingxiong to the third-floor terrace. The second he stepped outside, Wei Jingxiong nearly choked when he saw Yan Jiubin storming in with his crew. "Boss Chen, we gotta go." Wei Jingxiong grabbed Chen Fan, trying to drag him away. He'd only brought his driver, no backup. And the only people around the manor seemed to be the servants, no bodyguards in sight. Facing down Yan Jiubin's 100-strong squad, they were dead meat. Staying here meant walking into a buzzsaw. Yan Jiubin was even more ruthless than him. "No need to run, Boss Wei. Just watch the show." Chen Fan stood his ground, stopping Wei Jingxiong in his tracks. Wei Jingxiong was baffled. How could Mr. Chen be so calm when everything was about to hit the fan? Could it be that he already had a plan? Rushing forward with his men, Yan Jiubin spotted Chen Fan on the terrace. "Hey, hotshot. Feeling pretty smug about throwing me out earlier today, huh? Well, take a look at my boys. Still feeling so cocky now?" Yan Jiubin hollered up at Chen Fan, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "You seem pretty confident with just a few guys." Chen Fan couldn't help but ask. "A few guys? Is that what you see? I've got almost 100 of the best fighters in the city right here. More than enough to deal with you." Yan Jiubin shot back, puffing out his chest. He was so well prepared that Yan Jiubin couldn't even imagine things going south. "Listen up, kid. I'm giving you one last chance. If you know what's good for you, come on down here and clear out. I might show you some mercy." Yan Jiubin said, oozing arrogance. "If you don't blame us if things get messy. I'll give you a final offer, too. Get on your knees and beg for forgiveness. I might take pity on you." Chen Fan countered, with just as much condescension. "Pfft. You never learn, do you? Alright, boys, let's get them. Go in there and bring that punk down for me." Yan Jiubin's fuse was blown. He bellowed the order for his thugs to attack. "Charge! Let's go, get that guy. Charge!" Yan Jiubin's thugs surged forward, barreling toward the manor where Chen Fan was, nearly 100 thugs charging at once. The sight was terrifying. On the terrace, Wei Jingxiong was practically shaking in his boots, but Chen Fan remained unfazed. Clap, clap, clap. The timing felt right, and Chen Fan clapped his hands. The next second, something happened that left Yan Jiobin speechless. Chapter 88. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The enemy was in a complete panic. Before Yan Jiobin's goons could even rush in, over 30 tough-looking guys burst out of the building. Not only were they facing Yan Jiobin head-on, but another 20 or 30 hard cases appeared on all sides, boxing them in. Bang! The gates to Chen Fan's place slammed shut, locked tight from the outside. Before sunset, 2 regular security teams plus a crack squad from Zhoxiao Security had arrived. Chen Fan had set a perfect trap. Seeing this, Yan Jiobin and his crew started to sweat. How could this be happening? Yan Jiobin especially was floored. He thought he was catching Chen Fan off guard, but it turned out Chen Fan was ready for him. Then it clicked. The wide-open gates, like a welcome sign, it was an ambush. Upstairs, Wei Jingxiong's jaw dropped. Mr. Chen is incredible. No wonder Chen Fan was so cool. He'd planned everything. This was strategy at its finest. Wei Jingxiong was seriously impressed. Yan Jiobin, a veteran of rough situations, quickly pulled himself together. He scanned the scene, figuring they were surrounded by only about 110 to 120 guys, a slight edge for Chen Fan, but nothing insurmountable. His own thugs were handpicked, and Yan Jiobin had faith in them. He still thought he had a shot. Alright, nobody panic. They're only slightly more than us. We can still take them. Yan Jiobin yelled, trying to boost morale. Hearing that, his guys seemed to relax a little. If the numbers were close, they weren't scared. Haha, Chen Fan, how dumb can you be? Yan Jiobin mocked Chen Fan on the terrace. If you were going to ambush me, why so few people? What kind of advantage is this? If I were you, I'd have brought 200 or 300 guys to be sure. As it is, we're still not sure who's going to come out on top. Seeing Yan Jiobin's crazy confidence, Chen Fan couldn't help but respond. Not sure who'll win, huh? Yan Jiobin, let me tell you something. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Take them down. Chen Fan had no patience for talk. At his command, the Zhoxiao security bodyguards charged. Let's go, boys. Show them what we're made of. Yan Jiobin yelled, ordering his men to attack. He wanted a head-on brawl. Numbers might be close, but he knew his guys were tough. The thugs surged forward, clashing with Chen Fan's Zhoxiao security detail, but as the fight started, Yan Jiobin's confident smirk vanished. How were his carefully selected fighters getting wiped out like they were made of paper? Chen Fan's men were taking them down in just a few moves, especially those 30 or so in front. They were like gods of war, each one dropping an opponent with a single move. It was a total mismatch. As Yan Jiobin stared in disbelief, a third of his fighters were already writhing on the ground. Before long, almost all the thugs Yan Jiobin brought were down and out. Looking at his men, Yan Jiobin turned pale as a ghost. How could this be happening? He was actually scared. Chen Fan's bodyguards grabbed Yan Jiobin, tied him up, and dragged him before Chen Fan. What's that? Still think I don't have enough people? Chen Fan looked down at Yan Jiobin. I lost, but tell me why. Who are these guys of yours, and why are they so good? Yan Jiobin blurted out. They're bodyguards from Zhoxiao Security. Chen Fan said calmly. What? Zhoxiao Security? Yan Jiobin was stunned. Zhoxiao Security was the top security firm in Zhonghai province, a force to be reckoned with. Losing to them wasn't so shameful, then. What are you going to do with me? Yan Jiobin asked. Let's just say you're going to get out, from the first floor all the way to the front gate. Chen Fan said, a hint of a smile on his face. Yan Jiobin wanted him out, did he? He'd see how Yan Jiobin liked it. No way. Yan Jiobin was still defiant. Fine. You want to do things the hard way. Help him out, guys. Chen Fan ordered his bodyguards, feigning concern. Yes, sir. Chen Fan's bodyguards hauled Yan Jiobin downstairs. Once they reached the first floor, they punched him to the ground and started rolling him toward the gate like a tire. Finally, Yan Jiobin, clothes ripped and face bruised, ended up at the front gate. Boss Wei, Yan Jiobin's finished. His territory is yours now. Chen Fan looked at Wei Jingxiong. Thank you, Mr. Chen. Wei Jingxiong half knelt, swearing his loyalty to Chen Fan. Mr. Chen, from now on, I, Wei Jingxiong, am at your service. I'll follow your lead. In exchange for Yan Jiubin's territory, Wei Jingxiong was happy to become Chen Fan's man. And Mr. Chen, just call me Wei from now on. Don't call me Boss Wei. I can't bear it. Wei Jingxiong added. Wei. Nah, I'll call you Lao Wei, Old Wei, from now on. Calling a middle-aged guy in his 40s Wei just felt weird. Whatever you want. Wei Jingxiong nodded. Having a local boss like Wei Jingxiong take care of Yan Jiubin and his crew was the most convenient option. With Yan Jiubin gone and order restored to Chen Fan's estate, peace finally returned. The next morning, under Kong Baisheng's command, the Yum group launched a sudden attack on Yongtai real estate, and on Chen Fan's end, the system notification chimed. Ding. Severance of relations for the 19th day. Reward, world-class private yacht. Chapter 89. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The world's first private yacht. A world-class private yacht. Chen Fan was a little stunned. He hadn't expected today's system reward to be a yacht of that caliber. As a coastal city, private yachts aren't exactly rare in Jiangzhou. Plenty of wealthy families have one, or even several. Most of these yachts cost anywhere from a few million to tens of millions of yuan. The yacht the system rewarded him with had to be something else. Chen Fan noticed a detailed footnote and tapped it open. The system rewards the Solange private yacht. Ranked in the top 15 worldwide, the Solange is produced by the prestigious Xilan International Shipyard. Valued at around 1.2 billion yuan, the Solange is one of the largest yachts in the world, stretching 85.1 meters long. Its interior is decked out with the finest materials from across the globe, providing ultimate luxury. Inside, you'll find 8 VIP suites, a swimming pool, a helipad, a diving center, an open-air cinema, a sauna. Chen Fan was floored. No wonder it's in the top 15. At 1.2 billion yuan, it blows every other yacht in Jiangzhou, hell, in Zhonghai province, out of the water. Forget Zhonghai province, you probably couldn't find a yacht in the entire country that could even compare. This easily made Chen Fan the first person in China to own a world-class private yacht. After all, the owners of yachts this famous are usually public knowledge. Reading the details, Chen Fan couldn't wait to check out his Solange. Too bad the system said it wouldn't be delivered to the Jiangzhou dock for another 12 hours. He'd have to wait. Today's reward was definitely something. His first private yacht, and it's a world-class one in the top 15, the system really comes through. After his morning classes, Chen Fan left feeling pretty good. After dinner, he headed back to his villa in Yujing. On the way, he got a call from Yongtai Real Estate, saying that Yum Brands had already made their move. Alright, just stick to the plan we discussed. Chen Fan nodded, expecting as much. Chairman, we're playing the part of being panicked. We've lost 300 to 400 million yuan so far. The Yongtai real estate team reported that they were following Chen Fan's instructions to the letter. Good, the fish is biting. Chen Fan said, losing a few hundred million was a small price to pay to bait Yum Brands, and, technically, he wasn't even losing money yet. He'd pocketed 500 million from Yum Brands before. Even after the losses, he was still up over 100 million. For now, he'd play possum, stringing Yum Brands along for a few days to keep their attention focused on him. Then, when Ruoshui's Xia group was ready, they'd team up and deliver the knockout blow. Chen Fan figured they could wrap things up with Yum Brands in a week, maybe even less. While Chen Fan was strategizing, Kong Baisheng was getting updates from his team at Yum Brands. He was ecstatic to hear that Yongtai Real Estate had lost hundreds of millions so quickly. Chen Fan, a kid who barely knows which way is up, thinks he can play in the big leagues. Kong Baisheng bragged. Exactly, how can Chen Fan compare to you, Chairman? You've forgotten more than he'll ever know. His underlings chimed in obsequiously. Daring to cross Yum Brands and steal 500 million from us. Chen Fan is a dead man. Old Chen didn't teach him any manners, so I'll have to do it myself. I'll show him what it means to respect his elders. This afternoon, launch a full-scale assault on Yongtai real estate. I want to see them bankrupt. Kong Baixing barked the order. This time, he was going all in. Yes, sir. That his team jumped into action. Chen Fan had just arrived back at his Yujing villa when he noticed Xia Mengmeng and a charming middle-aged woman in Ruoshui's yard next door. When Chen Fan spotted her, the middle-aged woman perked up. She'd finally found the man in the photo who was involved with Ruoshui. This was Xia Menglan, Xia Mengmeng's aunt, who had quietly come to Jiangzhou to investigate Chen Fan on Ruoshui's father's orders. She hadn't revealed her true intentions to her niece, Xia Ruoshui, not wanting to spook him. She'd figured the guy would show up sooner or later, given his connection to Ruoshui, and she was right. Perfect, time to put him to the test. Xia Menglan was itching for the chance. Auntie, let me introduce you. This is Chen Fan, a senior at Jiangzhou University and our neighbor. Xia Mengmeng said. Hello, Chen. Xia Menglan greeted him. Hello, Ms. Xia. Chen Fan responded politely. Are you from Jiangzhou? Xia Menglan asked casually. I am. Chen Fan confirmed. Being from Jiangzhou wasn't ideal. It was a smaller city, so the local families probably weren't that wealthy or powerful. Becoming a son-in-law to their Xia family wouldn't be easy. They weren't just going to let anyone in, and Ruoshui was the apple of their eye. Anyone who wanted to marry her would have to meet some pretty strict criteria. As Chen Fan parked his car, Xia Menglan suddenly suggested visiting his villa. The place someone lives can reveal a lot about them, and Xia Menglan wanted to learn more about Chen Fan by seeing his home, and, of course, getting an idea of his finances. Since she was Ruoshui and Xia Xuemei's aunt, Chen Fan agreed and invited them both in. Xia Menglan was very polite once inside, looking around with feigned curiosity. Just an ordinary villa, nothing special, coming from the Xia family. Xia Menglan had seen her share of mansions. Chen Fan's place was pretty average. His finances were just a so-so, but just as Xia Menglan was starting to lose interest, something in Chen Fan's house caught her eye. Chapter 90. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old guy was over the moon, and get this, it was the Ru Kiln Azure Glaze Sunflower wash basin Chen Fan snagged from the system. Xia Menglan wasn't exactly an antique aficionado, but her father, the big boss of the Xia family, was seriously obsessed. To stay in his good graces, Xia Menglan had crammed on all things antique, so, when she laid eyes on the Ru Kiln basin Chen Fan had chilling in his living room, she almost lost it. Last year, she'd busted her butt to score a Ru Kiln for her dad's birthday, trying to make him happy, but those things are rarer than hen's teeth. She'd thrown money at the problem but came up empty, and now, here it was, in Jiangzhou of all places, in the house of this dude with the special thing with Ruoshui. And it was a real Ru Kiln. She jumped up, practically glued to the glass case. The more she stared, the more convinced she was that this thing was legit. Something wrong? Chen Fan asked, all innocence. Chen, is that Ru Kiln thing for real? Yep. Chen Fan nodded. The system had hooked him up with some serious swag, like shares in Patek Philippe that let him buy the real deal. No way the system would cough up a fake. Wow. Xia Menglan said, a little envious, and re-evaluating Chen Fan big time. He wasn't so run-of-the-mill after all. If someone else had this Ru Kiln, she would have tossed money at them, but she couldn't pull that big sister move on a dude. So, Xiao Chen, how do you and Ruoshui know each other? After they sat back down, Xia Menglan casually asked. Oh, Ruoshui's company is in my building. Chen Fan replied, Ruoshui, huh? Xia Menglan's ears perked up. That's pretty friendly. Usually, only family calls her that. Any other guy who tried that would get the cold shoulder quick, but Chen Fan just tossed out Ruoshui like it was no big deal, and Ruoshui probably lets it slide. Something was up. Now she was convinced these two were tight. Just then, Chen Fan's phone rang. It was about his yacht, the Solange, which had just pulled into the Jiangzhou dock. He needed to head over and sign for it. Okay, be right there, Chen Fan said. Everything okay? Xia Menglan asked curiously. Yeah, I bought a yacht, just got delivered. Gotta go down to the dock and sign off on it. Xiao Mei, wanna come check it out, Chen Fan offered, which was basically a polite way of saying, beat it. Sure, Xia Menglan jumped at the chance, wanting to get a peek. Yachts are a pretty good way to size up a guy's bank account. Okay. Chen Fan said, surprised. He was just being polite, and most people would take the hint, but Ruoshui's aunt was all in. Whatever, he thought, it was a solo trip anyway. No biggie if they tagged along, so they piled into Chen Fan's ride and headed to the docks. On the way, Xia Menglan was trying to picture Chen Fan's yacht. It'd give her a decent read on his finances to tell her brother back home. If it was some run-of-the-mill thing, a few million tops, then Chen Fan was just a local big shot, not exactly in the Xia family's league. Anyone marrying into their family needed to be at least in the same ballpark. If Chen Fan's yacht clocked in around 40 or 50 million, it meant he was doing alright, maybe just qualified, but if Chen Fan was rocking a yacht that cost tens of millions, that meant he was seriously loaded and worthy of a shot. About a half hour later, they rolled up to the dock. As soon as they got out of the car, Xia Menglan and Xia Mengmeng gawked at this massive thing parked there. Most yachts are just a few meters long, maybe 20. But this thing was practically 100 meters, towering over the other boats like a skyscraper. No way they could miss it. Even the Xia family's yacht wasn't this huge. Who the heck in Jiangzhou owns something like this? Suddenly, a thought hit Xia Menglan like a ton of bricks. No way, that couldn't be Chen Fan's yacht, could it? He'd said he bought a small yacht. That thing was definitely not small. Nah, she was probably wrong. Xia Menglan shook her head, not believing it for a second. Let's go take a look at my little yacht, Chen Fan said, leading the way. Xia Menglan and Xia Mengmeng followed, curiosity piqued. Soon, Chen Fan led them right up to the behemoth. A few staff members were waiting by the yacht. Mr. Chen? One of them asked, seeing Chen Fan stop. That's me. Great. This is your yacht, the Solange. Just need you to sign here. The staff handed Chen Fan the paperwork. Xia Menglan's jaw hit the floor. No freaking way.